Okay. Yes, everyone, I'm your soul brother Talib, once again, coming to you from the platform of Reality Temple Ministries, aka Operation Exodus Mississippi. As you best know me as well, being on the platform with brother Angel Snup Snup 7 and our other member of our platform, sister Noble Levine, and brother Gary Cuckoo Cutter, who appears on there with us as well. And first of all, I just want to say, that to begin with what I want to get going to, this video is going to be titled, What If Millions Die in America to the Coronavirus? Okay. Now, I wanted to do this as a joint video with other members of the platform I speak from. But however, due to circumstances, that wasn't able to happen today. So I decided to take it upon myself to do this video this evening because this thing with this coronavirus is really starting to spiral out of control. And I know that me and brother Talik in our other platform cast was talking about this the other day in another joint video we had made together. And yes, death is going to come either way, whether it's through the coronavirus, okay, or whether it's through any other disease or any other, manner, and I just got to say that, we all definitely got a death sentence day on this earth. That's without a question. Okay. And that cannot be avoided. But however, that process can be derailed as far as on the part of mankind. Let's not talk about nature, because in this video it's not about the nature essence of death. It's about man-made playing its part, mankind playing its part, in this situation spiraling out of control, because man has ways to keep this under control. And the reason I say that, because in other countries, governments are dealing with this more better right now at this point in keeping this virus under control from spreading than the United States is. As of yesterday, the United States topped China as well as Italy as having the most coronavirus infection cases as well as deaths, which is still increasing. And ain't no telling how many have increased even as of I'm speaking right now. And, the world is also watching America in this case as well, since America has become the epicenter for this coronavirus. And this is telling the world, more what type of people run this country, which they have already known, but they're starting to see more of the extent to how this government runs this country, and how those also, along with the government that's in control of running things in this country, are running this country. As far as the rich, you know, staying richer and the poor becoming poorer, which this is also partly about. And that reality simply just can't be ignored. You know, it's a fact, you know, and even people from other nations, like Canada, which is next door to us, is speaking out on this fact, you know, and I must say that, you know, because this also is, you know, impairing the U.S. economy at this time in a very massive way, you know, far as especially hurting those that's employed, while it's, according even to this $2 trillion stimulus bill that was just passed, which more likely Trump is going to sign into effect as a bill that would issue out some type of relief to individual Americans and American couple families and children, you know, and those who are, you know, laid off or unemployed and so forth on. But this is not going to be enough, of course. And some politicians, especially like Bernie Sanders, who fought at least to get this stimulus for the working poor or the have-nots extended from $600 up to $1,200, and, you know, could have done more, you know, if others in his own Democratic Party establishment wasn't working against him. You know, this stimulus thing, you know, is benefiting the rich once again, just like with the Wall Street and bank and auto industry bailouts of 2008 and 9. It's basically no different. And, you know, of course, the Republicans wasn't going to agree to let this go ahead without those implications being involved, where most of them who are wealthy will benefit from this, and those who are their corporate donors that will benefit from this. So this is causing more of a destructive divide in this country. And maybe, you know, like I told somebody the other night, you know, maybe the wheels ought to just going to fall off, you know, far as this country is concerned. And you know, because it may have to take this situation, of course, to crash to the ground in order for some existing real change to come, you know, in this matter. And as far as what mankind has to do with this situation, which within his control, like I said before, beginning with this video, where mankind can use better steps to keep this from going out of control, refuses to do so. And we could see this in the media with the stupid, you know, rhetorical, idiotic statements that our president is made and said in the media, and what other politicians have rhetorically and idiotically said in the media. Like this one lieutenant governor, Republican governor of Texas, said that elderly people, older people rather, ought to go back to work and risk their lives. Hey, these people ain't even got that much time left on earth. But they should go risk their lives by working just so the economy could get back to rolling to normal. Well, see, nature has nothing to do with that part, okay? That's stupidity coming from mankind, and I must say that, at this point in time, as a country, because I've heard people say that they're proud of their country, but not their government. But I seen in the comment section under a video I saw earlier that was dealing with Trump's so-called frivolous plan of putting U.S. troops on the Canadian border to supposedly guard Canadians from getting into the United States. That I saw in the comment section where someone corrected that person that made that comment about being proud of their country but not their government. Well, like they said in response to that, the government is the country because that's what's running the country, okay? And that made a lot of sense, and I have to say that what we're dealing with is the fall of an empire. And no, I'm not. Let's get it straight. I'm not talking about it in the manner that the pro-black conscious community is talking, as far as the divine so-called spiritual fall of America, as most of them may say. No, I'm talking about in reality perspective of what we see actually going on with this, demolition of the economy. Now, I must say this, because there are some who may feel like, well, the world would be better off just crashing economically, as well as, morally, just for the planet Earth to get a new clean slate. Okay, I got that. But however, when you looking at different countries who are trying to do the best that they can to stampede the onslaught of this spiraling out of control virus, which has less technology and that is even more underdeveloped in the United States, and they're able to do it more successfully to keep more of their citizens from dying, unlike the United States. That says something, that somewhere else in this planet Earth, somebody is acting like they really got some sense. That's what that's saying. Okay, that is exactly what that's saying. And I must also say this too, that with over 300 million people in this country, in fact, because the government refuses, the federal government as well, who has refused to even issue ventilators to states like New York that is asked demandedly for them. And the United States obviously is refusing to impose upon these companies that's making these other manufactured objects, militarily and otherwise, but not ventilators that could save people's lives, is a problem. That's a man-made problem. Because them ventilators could be used to save more than the lives that it's saving now. But because of a lack of them ventilators going around to be able to save those that's affected by the coronavirus so far, you know, we're dealing with a situation that maybe in fact, due to that, millions can die in this country. You know, millions of people, including all of us who are among these millions of people, can actually die in this country. Now, you know, me personally, I don't have the coronavirus, nor have I tested for it. But however, even if I did, and if death ended up, you know, being imposed on me because of this, then hey, so be it. You know, because this is hell anyway on earth. Like a rap group in the 90s used to say, hell on earth, you know? Back, it was in the 90s, yeah. Rap group called Mobb Deep. You know, they made a song called Hell on Earth. And yes, this is definitely hell on earth. And so, I mean, you know, I mean, if it means that I'll be better off dead from this, then so be it. But at least while I'm still among the living, I do agree that adjustments can be made, you know, to bring some type of kind of you know, clear avoidance from many more lives being lost in this situation that we're experiencing with this coronavirus epidemic. And also, I feel that, you know, the government can step up its, you know, job by making sure that that happens effectively than it's doing. Instead of worrying about, you know, piling up or feeding their pockets and bank accounts, rather to say, you know, because that's what they're mostly mainly concerned about, which comes before the lives of those of us that are living here in the United States of America, you know, including its territories, I must say. But, you know, like I said before, it's just got to the point that, you know, if this government don't do something effectively about that, on that note, yes, millions will die. And the reason I want to get further into that, because if millions do die in America from this coronavirus, you're going to see heads getting rolled. You're going to see people's heads getting rolled. And I'm not talking about, you know, like on the streets with common violence that goes on, especially in poor communities throughout this country. I'm talking about those who are wealthy and that shares a lot of responsibility in this, you know, neglect that's going on against the people that's living in this country. And It's going to be some bloodshed, you know? And if even that's what it have to take, if it's not too late to make change happen in this nation, then hey, so be it. You know? Civil war, whatever happened, hey, so be it. You know? It ain't like this country ain't never experienced a civil war before. But this one I'm sure will be a lot more worse because of the effects and implications, you know, that would come behind it. You know, but like I said before, you know, this is what we're seeing. Because then we got assholes that's going around, which nature has nothing to do with, by coughing and licking on food and store item products in grocery stores and retail stores, like some of these white racist supremacists have been doing across the country, even threatening to bomb hospitals and stuff because of the coronavirus. People being treated for the coronavirus, but they gon', you know, set a car bomb up in front of a hospital talking about blowing it up like some idiot I heard tried to do in Oklahoma, which from my understanding, the Federal Bureau of Investigations had been watching him prior to that. So, you know, this is the type of idiocy we got going on in this country. And this is what we dealing with right now in this country. You know, and I have to say that, you know, because of the mishaps of mankind, this is what's going to bring this country down and apart. You know, and you know, like I even heard people talking about, you know, under the comment section of this other YouTube channel that I do watch, you know, how when they were talking about putting U.S. troops on the Canadian border, which even the Canadian government has laughed at and has strongly, you know, gave their rebuttal on and has even rejected agreeing with the U.S. on as well. With the ideal that they supposed to be stopping Canadians from coming over here. Well, like someone said, basically in response to that, it's really about keeping, it could be possibly about keeping Americans from leaving out the country. Just like with the same crap Trump was trying to do with, you know, building the walls, or building the wall on the U.S.-Mexican border, you know. So basically, it's about, I wouldn't minimize that possibility. I really would not minimize that possibility at all of that happening. As far as that intention go, you know, I wouldn't minimize that possibility at all. Because we cannot put nothing past what the United States would do, period. We cannot put nothing past what the United States would do. And that's just a simple fact, you know. And also what's mentioned is that publicly, of course, in social media, it's talk that it may be Americans willing to take chances to, you know, cross certain unprotected parts of that border to try to get into Canada. And you know what? Who could blame them? Because this country don't have no health you know, policy to ensure that all Americans will be protected from this. like up in Canada where you could go get freely tested for this thing called the coronavirus. And then also too, on another note, internationally speaking, this one idiot in Trump's administration who some CNN analysts had to literally cut off because he was just sounding so pathetic was that, you know, he said that it was China's fault. Once again, I must say this, you know, and I don't agree with that personally myself, but I must say this though, you know, let's say if it was China who made this up as a biochemical weapon, as a way to get back at other countries, particularly the United States. Let's say if that was the case, okay? Because the United States done did all kind of crazy stuff since it became a so-called world power, okay? The United States done did all kind of dirt to other countries, cultures, let alone its own population here. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, I mean, it would go to show you that, of course, no one gets away, you know, with oppressing and trying to keep other people, places, and countries and continents down. You know, keeping other cultures down. Keeping other different so-called types of classes of people down while the others remain on top, you see. So, I mean, now naturally, of course, speaking of nature, in this case, that turns around and come back to bite people in the ass, which has been historically proven with other falls of past ancient empires, including recent empires and our, you know, modern times. So, you know, like I said before, we have to look at this situation, you know, but I can't prove that. That's why I say I don't believe it, because I can't prove that China is actually behind making it a biochemical weapon to wage an attack, especially on a country like America. I can't say that because I have no proof of that. You know, so I don't get caught up into that conspiracy theory thing because of that either. Because of the fact that I don't have no proof of it, I'm not going to further speak on that. But however, you know, I would not minimize that possibility either, because of what mankind unfortunately is capable of doing, especially when it comes to, you know, these, you know, harming others among humanity, you know, and then the fact that we know China does have a history of trying to depopulate its own citizens in different ways, which has been proven over time. So I wouldn't minimize that possibility. But like I said, I don't know that for a fact either. You know, so I'll leave it as that. But however, I will say this though, is that, you know, we got to really take in consideration that, however, that we are dealing with a crisis, that there is ways within the grasp of mankind's control that they could use far as, you know, method-wise to turn this situation around. so that life can somewhat get back to normal, as people want to call it, although it's not a normal life we've been living anyway. But I'm just saying that, in a hypothetical way of sounding off this situation. But however, like I said, if it don't get back to normal, so supposedly anytime soon, then yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this thing unfold further down the line. Because even when Trump offered to end this crisis by 2 weeks from now on the so-called holiday of Easter, state governments around the country told him to go kick sand rocks, basically. And rightfully so, you know. With this situation spiraling out of control, and you're not giving the states enough leverage to be able, nor supplying them with the medical equipment like the ventilators as they've been demanding to help get rid of this situation that's going on. Rightfully so. Them governments had the right to reject what the president demanded of them. Or commanded of them, rather to say, since he is considered as the commander-in-chief of this country. But, they're, however, rejecting that. Because of the fact that this situation has gotten out of hand, and they don't have enough resources to help deal with this situation. So yeah, why should we just sit back and watch the federal government so-called make things go back to normal so the economy could, continue to grow? Which, like I saw on today, I saw something today online which made a lot of sense too, that right now this situation cannot afford us to be able to turn off nor turn on the economy, because of the way that this situation has gutted the economy since this coronavirus outbreak really started getting serious, epidemically, or pandemically, rather to say. And it's like it's a situation that we must really recognize and deal with some sense and not recklessness, especially because we got those idiots in power that just want to feed their pockets. And I mean, I also want to say this too, because, and looking from the standpoint of what other people in different countries got to say about how we're responding to this situation of this pandemic virus. Yes, Americans are arrogant and too stupid to accept and see the type of reality that exists in this country. Which is why, even with this situation of how we're coping with this pandemic, shows why we are now epically at the top of every country in this situation of the coronavirus. So I must say that, man, woman, or whoever is watching this video, will be watching this video, I must say this. You got to wake up and realize and understand what situation we're dialing in and what we can do within our control. Now, unfortunately, because of what we're dealing with, we must not, if it have to take us not depending on the federal government, then so be it. If that mean that some of us got to flee illegally across the border, so be it. This is the type of time that we're in right now. This is not no game to play. that could be on the table too. Because in Canada you got free health care universally, which this country don't have. And also is situations up there in that country is less common than down here on this southern part of the border. So, like I said, long as we're here in the United States, we may be in a no win lose situation with this. If we cannot all come together, even with the help of the federal government, to do something about this, and I do agree to an extent with some people who've spoken out about this. Why in the world should private sectors have to come out their pockets? I'm talking about just individuals or citizens have to come out their own personal pockets and donate to do something that this federal government is capable of doing. Why do states have to extend their hand too far to help curve aside this pandemic when it is, in fact, the federal government's job to provide the necessities overall to make this happen? Because this is putting a lot of more pressure on the states like New York, California, Washington State than what they can handle. And other states, whether they're affected by this more or less affected by this, but it's still putting too much on the state governments, period, around this country. And it must be, this must be turned around within the control of mankind, like I said. Now, what nature does as it takes its course, we have no control over. Okay, I get that. I clearly get that. But at the same time, we must understand that there are some things within the control of mankind, especially that's running this situation, to do something to turn this around. And it's just that simple. It is just that simple. Because there are a lot of people right now dying. It's got past 1,000, almost close to 2,000 people in this country dying, if not halfway in number, in hundreds, from 2,000 dying already to this pandemic in this country. And it's 80-something thousand people in this country altogether that's affected by this. So yes, this is spiraling out of control, and I must say that we can't keep playing games, especially with the lives of people, that don't have too much options, but possibly just to sit up and die. Especially if they have, but of course, this thing is killing anybody, even those that's considered healthy. So this virus don't discriminate either, which has been a proven fact over and over since it got serious. So, I must say that, looking at this whole thing, and what we're dealing with, we have to wake up. And if that means, like I say, taking this situation into our own hands without the federal government's help, since they don't want to really do nothing anyway from their hearts for concern of the citizens or members of this society, then we got to take that destiny into our own hands. And I don't care what the color of the skin is or the culture, whatever culture you come from either. This is a pandemic that's affecting everybody in this nation, and I mean, we got to deal with this and get down to the bottom of this to at least slow this down. Because we know even if we get it under control, it's just not going to, flat out completely disappear all the way. But we can get it under control enough, to be able to get back in gear to move on normally with our lives. Like other countries is working harder at this moment to do than in America, which is considered, unquote, the most powerful nation in the world. Well, it's being proven at this moment in time that myth of falsehood is being actually tested. And America is seeming to fail miserably right now at it. So, we have to understand that this is what we're dealing with. And we can't keep playing with our lives or other people's lives in this case. And like I said, I make videos, especially on this channel, dealing with the reality and nothing but strictly reality, which we speak from our platform, of course. But however, I had to make this video because I'm very passionate about this situation that we're in and knowing how it's affecting people. I've been talking and staying in constant contact with family members in other states that's dealing with this, to the point where I see how it's mentally and morally affecting them. And so that is how serious this situation is, and I mean, and how it's emotionally affecting them. And I know me or other family members of my own are not alone. It's millions upon millions and millions of other people and families in America that's on this same ship that I'm on, dealing with this same situation and crisis as it is throughout the rest of the world, of course. But, of course, because America now is the epic center of this situation, all of a sudden, which we supposed to have more advantage over other countries in being able to handle any time or test when it comes to even situations like this. Well, like I said, America is failing miserably. And we have to come to that realization, people, and stop being arrogant. Stop thinking, that, manure don't stink, and just, wake up and realize, hey, it is what it is, and we got to all do the best we can in our own grasp of control, but also that it is the government's responsibility, since they running the show, because they were elected to uphold, as they say, the Constitution or whatever, and do what they need to do by the people. Well, they need to be forced to. They don't need to be forcing the people need to be forcing them. And that's what this is about at this point. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're actually dealing with in this crisis. If you've never seen a crisis like this in your life, well, welcome to reality. And don't trip. Don't get over emotional about it to the point where you can't think clear, because what a few of us do know about this country in terms of truth, we expected something like this to eventually happen. However it was going to come. We expected it to eventually happen. So don't take it as a surprise, and I just wanted to throw that out there. So, those of you that watch this video, once it's posted on my channel, just if you got any comments, I would be more than willing to get back with you on them. So just jot them down, and let me know what you think or feel or whatever, and I'll get back with you on it. And I must also say before closing out that I send my wishes and my hopes out to those on this panel, such as Brother Angel Snup Snup 7, aka Talik Ibn Rod, Brother Gary Cool Cutter, Sister Noble Levine, that they are safe during this crisis and that their families are also safe and sound during this crisis. And other people that also join us on this platform, even if it's in the comment section, I hope that you're getting through this safe and soundly along with your families as well. And hey, I just have to say that people, if you ain't never took nothing serious in life, and I'm talking also particularly to us here in the United States dealing with this epidemic, though we know this is a worldwide impact situation going on, but we're here in the United States, so we're dealing with this in the United States. So if you ain't ever been serious, speaking once again to those of you in the United States of America, then it's really time to get serious, because a lot of more lives is going to be lost, unfortunately, to this, especially because of the negligence, especially of the leadership that runs this country and those that are in power in this country as well. But, with that said, and I also wish you all throughout America and the world as well to get through this, so you could get back on with your lives. But however, because I don't wish death on nobody. But like I said, though, death in this situation may be imminent anyway because of the, out of control spread of this virus. And if that means that it takes this nation down and even those throughout the rest of the world completely, and totally, annihilate the whole of humanity, then so be it. Because like I've said in other videos, maybe this world needs a replenishing. I'm talking about this planet Earth, rather to say. Yes, this planet Earth may need a replenishing as far as human existence is concerned, because a lot of us are no good, to each other, let alone ourselves, nor anything that naturally deals with this planet Earth. And that's just a fact in itself. But like I said, for us to make a difference, if it's being within our control of reach, if we ain't got to die faster, then so be it. then so be it. And that's just where I stand at. I know other people may have their own outlook, but I'm my own free thinker, so I have my own outlook on it as well. But like I said before, and that includes those of each that's on the same panel platform that I'm on. You know. So like I said, hey, take this and run with it how you may will, but this is a reality check for the world, and especially for those of us here in the country that's full of arrogance and so-called pride. And with that said, I will end this video, with saying that I'm out of here in peace.